Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Devil's Advocate podcast. This is the preview for the mighty Manchester United against the mighty Newport County. Obviously, we have a lot to discuss here in this wonderful Saturday evening. We have to talk about, obviously, big game tomorrow. Also, the fact that we've had a couple of changes in the last week as well. So it would be good to discuss with the lads about that as well. Also, we'll talk about current injury problems and also a couple of controversies off the pitch as well, as there always is with Man United. So do smash the like the video, do subscribe. And as always, look, guys, we do appreciate your support. But first of all, I'm going to go round the table to all the boys straight away. We're going to kick straight into it. Reese, obviously, the FA Cup has been traditionally a competition for Man United where we always like to be thereabouts to win it every season. Obviously, last season we lost that FA Cup final in moments due to poor goalkeeping. And obviously, that was pretty much stung since obviously June last year. When you look at how bad our domestic and European campaigns have been in terms of the Champions League and also how badly we're faltering in the league right now, I know it's Newport County, but how significant is tomorrow's game in terms of shaping our season and hopefully trying to win a trophy in the midst of a very bad season?
To say it bluntly, mate, if we lose tomorrow, sack the manager. Like, in the greatest respect, like, I've never been one for, like, immediate, like, this and that, but all due respect, like, tomorrow, like, it's quite funny that a player who's never played for Man United before has literally said it's the biggest game for these players tomorrow, and that's Cesc Fabregas. He literally said in a recent interview, this is the biggest game tomorrow for most of these United players. And that's somebody who has played for Arsenal, has played for Chelsea, he's played for Barcelona, played for Monaco, and he's also won numerous international trophies with Spain. And he's telling Man United players, a club he's got no affiliation to, that it's their biggest game tomorrow. Like, that says a lot for me. If we do not turn up tomorrow, then serious questions need to be asked. Not because it's Newport, but because of the level of the competition itself. The FA Cup is symbolic for United in terms of the fact we're the second most successful team in the competition. If we do not get anything off Newport, then the manager has nothing left. He has no, like, to quote a TV show, he has no lifelines left. Like, this is like the end for him tomorrow if we don't beat Newport. That's where we're at right now in circumstance. It's painful to say it, but it needs to be said.
Yeah, 100%. I do think, like, to be fair, I think the manager has been kind of walking on eggshells the last couple of weeks anyway in terms of results. I do think the last couple of results have been pretty poor. And I do think performances in general, just haven't been there consistently this season. And I think it might be the icing on the cake if he was to lose against Newport tomorrow. But I don't think that's going to happen. But look, we'll chat about that more in further detail kind of on the show. But Stu, obviously, Erik ten Hag has had a lot of ups and downs this season in terms of tactical solutions, in terms of team selection, but also with stuff going on off the pitch. Obviously, like, we've seen a giant killing this weekend already with Maidstone, obviously beating Ipswich. And the magic of the FA Cup has always been there. Contrary to what some people tell you, I do think the magic of this competition is there. With the fact that we're playing a team that's obviously in League Two, though struggling and quite frankly have had a couple of injury problems as well. Is this for Erik ten Hag tomorrow, like, kind of sink or swim situation? And do you think he goes full strength tomorrow, considering kind of where our season is at right now?
Look, I don't think he goes full strength. I don't think it's sink or swim. I can see Reese's point of view. I get it. Strangest things have happened in football. Don't need to remind everybody about Bournemouth all those years ago when Sir Harry Redknapp was in charge. But you look, for me, I'm more interested and intrigued about what it'd be like in the Newport dressing room, because what happens in that Newport dressing room will actually determine what happens on the pitch. And I know it sounds really strange, but they will be the ones that will actually dictate the way that the game plays, because they'll either be full of fear or full of absolute vigor and anger and aggression. And And I think their natural game will go out the window. It's happened to me on plenty of occasions when we play teams at a high level, and you want to go into face a team like Manchester United, whoever it may be, and give the best that you possibly can. What tends to happen is you overplay. You kind of overthink about what you're doing as an individual. And this is where we should be able to pick up those pieces and deliver a knockout 6-0 blow. And I know that sounds a little bit harsh on Newport. It sounds a little bit premature considering we're not getting anywhere near look like scoring 6 goals in the past. Although we created chances, we can't finish. But for me, if Newport don't get a grip and the managers don't get a grip on their players, then it could be an absolute landslide. It really could, because our superior football and ability at all levels, including our under-18s, which, we hammered Leeds today. Most of our under-18s are actually, could play for the under-16s and vice versa. It's in terms of our 18s and 21s, it's a really interesting time period for Manchester United in our youth period. So I would give the likes of Kalawaba or Reese. How do you pronounce it? Reese. How do you pronounce it? Kwambala. I'd give him a shot. I would. I'd give Mino in. I know Gore's gone, etc. But I'd push Ahmed in. I don't think Ahmed's gone out the door yet, has he? So I would play a bit of a mix of youth.
He's expected to go though.
He is expected to go. Yeah, I'll give it a mix of youth, but I'd go slightly stronger at the back alongside Willie. We'll call him Willie, just in case. I know Bayard is pretty strong in that, but just in case his first game. But I would mix it. But honestly, it will be down to Newport to control the game and how they come about. If they can't play, or they freeze, or they try to overplay the ball, we'll absolutely smash them. We will. Good 6-0. So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, you see, the thing about it is, I think, ideally, I'd love to see the kids get a run. I'd like to see the likes of obviously the likes of Cambuala. I'd like to see Dola Shortiri, players like that go in and get a run against this side. But I know what people say is Newport County, but at the same time, we've no other trophies to compete for this season. And when has Eric Ten Hag, in his time at Man United, you remember last season, we smashed Forest 4-0. Then all of a sudden, he still played the first 11 in the second leg, even though it was done and dusted at that point. The way I look at it is Eric Ten Hag's a man under pressure. And
he is, yeah.
The problem I see with this is, well, it's not even the problem. I just don't see him making wholesale changes, even though, to be fair, there's a couple, even if he threw in 2 or 3 youth players in amongst the first 11 tomorrow, that's progress. That's trying something different. That's trying something out of the ordinary. But I just don't see that happening, considering the level of pressure he's under and the fact that the whole squad, the whole team at this moment is playing in audition right now, under this new setup with Ineos. Everyone is under audition. So for me right now, as much as I'd love to see the young fellas get a go tomorrow, I just think Ten Hag is very pragmatic in the way he does things. I do think he probably will go full strength. But look, we'll get a starting 11 prediction later on the pod anyway. But Mark, I would kind of want to flip the screw on this, because obviously there's been bad results, but in the midst of a very kind of, I wouldn't say good time, but at one point in the season when we were consistent, a player returning potentially tomorrow is Harry Maguire, and he's recently back in training, and Luke Shaw is back in training. Do you foresee Harry Maguire getting a run back in the team tomorrow, considering the fact that, yes, Lisandro Martinez is only back, and he's obviously our first choice centre half, but do you see Harry Maguire maybe getting some minutes tomorrow, considering before his injury he was quite frankly one of our better players?
Yeah, I'd like to see him. I think he was written off ultimately, wasn't he, by 95% of Man United fans, unfortunately, over the summer. And it was technically due to his own performances. Ultimately, he couldn't really handle being captain of Manchester United. I would like to see him, yeah. It's just, I suppose, tomorrow, just based on what Sean and Reese had said, I think we're going to go in strong. agreeing with yourself, King, because I don't think like ultimately this could be his last hurrah, like what Reece was very adamant about. If it's the case where, God forbid, we go out tomorrow and lose 1 or 2-0 or whatever it may be, I know you'd say to yourself, Stu, based on your opinion, that like we potentially are very strong in comparison to them. Obviously, League Two, and they're battling down there, but I suppose the magic of the FA Cup, that's what people say, isn't it? Like, I was watching that Maidstone game there today. Ipswich, majority of the ball. Maidstone, 2 very good chances in the sense of they were 2 chances that were taken very well. And that's what could happen tomorrow. United obviously playing away. And, we have superstars in comparison. They're not used to this type of level. I don't really see many youth team players playing tomorrow. I definitely don't foresee anybody starting, being honest with you. We haven't had a game in a fortnight, realistically, give or take. Obviously, they're friendly the other day against Burnley, but from a competitive standpoint, I don't think that he's going to want to go out and ultimately give himself put himself in the fray of being sacked. If it's a case where we go down tomorrow and lose 1-0 or, like I said, 2-0, that's where I'm standing on with that at the moment,
It's a good point there where Mark mentioned there about the Maidstone game, and I was watching some of it as well, and I like that first goal. Like, I literally put in the group chat that Twan Sebi was left for dead. He literally was. Like, it looked like he had just seen like Christ and then like killed himself. Like, that's generally how bad his position was. But when you look at that as well, key thing as well that was by the commentator, they made 10 changes to play Maidstone. Promotion fighting or not, 10 changes against a team that's non-league. That's shocking.
It shows a sense of ignorance, really, Reece, doesn't it?
And if we do the same against Newport, we shouldn't be doing that much ignorance. But I'm not saying we should play full strength, but we should not be making 10 changes playing Newport, because that is exactly the same. That is a sign of arrogance. That's a sign of ignorance as well. Like, we shouldn't be doing that. We should play as strong as we can, obviously, because we want to win. And this is another thing as well that I think is really important. Even if we win 1-0 tomorrow, if we win 2-1, that will not change the point of view of the vast majority of our fans. A 1-0 or 2-1 win, like, for example, if Newport got a goal, that's not enough. We need to convince tomorrow. There needs to be, and if you can't convince against Newport, who are we going to convince against? Because that's another important thing. Seriously important.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think, like, look, at the end of the day, you look at the Wigan game, we created a lot of chances, but we just couldn't put them away. So do you think the scoreline on the day did flatter Wigan at the time a couple of weeks ago? But look, tomorrow, we do need to put on a convincing performance, and you're absolutely right, Reece. Like, if you're going to Newport and you're not putting in a convincing performance against a team that's struggling in League Two, then I'm sorry, Mr. Ten Hag, but you have to go. It's simple as that. Like, you have your full squad back. Like, you have Lisandro Martinez there. You have Casemiro probably back tomorrow. Like, at the end of the day, if you're not putting Newport to the sword with your full team, because that's what he's probably going to go with, then how much more progress is this man going to make this season, realistically? If you like, I know the advantage of the FA Cup is there, but I've backed Ten Hag for the longest time this season, but there's a lot of performances lately that, especially with the injuries coming back, that our style of play still hasn't evolved. We haven't been able to fully play out from the back. We haven't been able to keep the ball in midfield. And like, let's say if he plays in midfield 3 tomorrow, Casemiro, Ericsson, and Bruno Fernandes, and they can't control that midfield against Newport County tomorrow, then the writing is on the wall. And you can talk about recruitment, you can talk about tactics, you can talk about all that crack till the cows come home. But if he can't do that against Newport County, if he can't coach a team to go out there and put on a convincing performance, then I'm sorry, Solskjaer, Mourinho, and Van Gaal got crucified for a lot less at the club. And people talk about their styles of play and how convincing we weren't under them managers. Well, we need to start giving Mr. Eric Ten Hag that same energy, because they had probably lesser squads than this one, and they put out more convincing performances. I know Trevor's saying in the comments that the actual test will be Newport, but
Every game
Trevor-
for this team is a test right now because they're all inept at doing the easiest and most basic of requirements on a football field.
But Trevor, we're getting dominated at home against the likes of Bournemouth. So every game's a test for this side. And that's no disrespect to Bournemouth, but this squad right now, we can't go out there and say 100% we've went out and dominated the game this season. Full-fledged 90-minute performance.
You brought Wigan, mate, and see the Wigan game. Bar the fact we won that game, Wigan were better to watch. Wigan were when you look at that game, you find that game. I look at that. Which team looks like they're fighting for promotion to a different league, and which team doesn't look like a Premier League team? We looked like the team that was fighting for relegation or even promotion. Wigan looked like a Premier League team. They looked like they really wanted to win. They came at us, everything they had, in sense of the quality. They didn't create anything sufficient that they were going to justify they were going to win. But when you look at their entire game, they at least wanted it. We didn't. We looked like we were just like, it's Wigan. Like, we're just going to turn them over. You can't have that attitude. You can have that attitude if you're able to back it up consistently. We've not been able to back up that sort of attitude in well over a decade. We've got no entitlement to turn up to a game and say, we're going to completely turn this team over 4, 5, 6, 7-0. We don't have that attitude at all. We don't have that entitlement. We have got so much to do that even the most basic of ideologies to football, this lot cannot do it. They cannot do the basics. And as a Man United fan, that's scarier than the prospect of losing a game to Newport. Losing in Newport can happen. It better not bloody happen. But the basics of football has to be shown. And I don't see it. I don't even see a style of play from Ten Hag. Like, that's the scary thing, is this guy came in openly and admittedly in an interview saying, I am not going to play the same way that I did at Ajax. If that's the case, then you shouldn't be here. Because if that was, and I said it before on our stream, I've said it in our group chat as well, if that was Pep Guardiola pre-getting the Man City job, if that was Pep Guardiola taking the Man United job and he says, I'm not going to play the Barcelona way, then get rid of him. Trev, I've never liked the guy, so drop it. Honestly,
No, but
the day we signed him, he should have got snapped in training because we should never have signed him. But going back to what I was saying there about Pep Guardiola, if he'd taken the Man United job in 2013, so Alex Ferguson retiring, and he says, I'm not going to play the way I did at Barcelona, then fuck him off and get Ancelotti. You want somebody who's actually going to stick to their word. We didn't do it anyway. We got David Moyes, no problem at all. We became feared of big teams. But in circumstance being, a manager who comes in, if you've got a proven style at a club that's got a significant history that's worked for you for 4 or 5 years, where you've won multiple trophies, you've got to a European Cup semi-final. If you've come in and you say, I'm not going to play that way, then don't come here. Because that's what you're known for.
The thing is, I'm going to bring this to Stu because Reece mentioned something there. Like, he mentioned that the fact that he's refused to play the Ajax way.
Yeah.
We've seen Dutch managers come to the Premier League and try to play the Ajax way, and it hasn't worked. Obviously, Coleman, obviously De Boer, people like that have played tried to play that Dutch style, didn't work. Obviously, Manchester United aren't going to be this technical aficionados that Ajax are, because we simply number one, we don't have the players to play that way anyway, full-fledged. But do you think Ten Hag should be more adaptable in terms of, maybe not playing the Ajax way, but still, play a way that, traditionally Man United do, is in terms of playing on the front foot and trying to take the game to teams?
Yeah, the problem we got is it's the players. The players aren't adaptable. I think the manager's quite adaptable. I just don't think the players are. The players are set in their ways. They've been able to get away with so much recently, from disciplinary issues to lack of training, in terms of having a real good go. And they languish around. They're languid in their play, their style of play. There's no real buzz, there's no passion, there's no aggression. To be honest, with this mob that we've currently got, nobody could turn them around. Nobody could turn them into match winners and world beaters, because they just can't be bothered. They're picking up their extortionate salaries, and it's been an issue for us. Fast forward 2 or 3 years, you won't see that. You'll see a different type of player profile being brought in. The issue that we've got, and I think the issue that Ten Hag's got, is He's gone into that training ground. He's gone in, he's met the players, and he's thinking, I've got some absolutely brilliant players here, but they're all lazy. They're just, and any player that comes out and says, always run me too hard in training, you don't want anything to do with people like that. You just don't. You see, what you need is people that are willing to learn, are willing to listen, and are willing to progress their own careers, let alone Eric Ten Hag's. But when you get to Manchester United, when you get to the elite level, you should have all those skill sets anyway. So it should be very, very easy to adapt to any kind of play style that a manager wants.
Can I ask you a question, dude? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think they're convinced by Ten Hag as a manager?
I
think he's a brilliant manager. I think he is. But I think there's so many things to him that he's not convincing. I don't understand why. But a player's also got to have trust, just like a manager's got to have trust in his staff and who he's actually coaching, or in his case, managing. They need to have trust in him. And we saw how far trust goes in any industry, in any sport. But when I look at it and I see there's times where there's a little bit of trust, and then a follow-up game, there's none at all.
I think look, trust is important in a dressing room. I have to look around my dressing room and look at trust when the mighty Tipton Town take the pitch. And I look at trust, and there are some players I'm not having on a match day. I can tell you for nothing, because they're lazy, they don't hold the ball up well enough, they're not skillful enough, they're not hard enough. They don't do this. So if I'm looking around Manchester United's dressing room, I'm doing exactly the same thing. Even when I look at Bruno, I'm thinking, what am I going to get out of you today? What's going to happen? When I look at Martinez, you kind of know what you're going to get. When you look at Dallo, again, what type of game am I going to get from you? You don't know. And this is the issue that they've got. For me, though, Reece, whether you should always trust a manager. So anytime the gaffer walks through the door, that is it. That's the end. Yeah. You look at this kid, you look at this man and think, right, I'm going to put my career in your hands here, and it's up to me to get the very, very best out of it. And our players aren't getting the very best out of it. So I like Ten Hag. I like his attitude. Do I like his brand of football right now? Absolutely not. But he's living hand to mouth. He's like a homeless person at the minute, living hand to mouth. Homeless people need to feed. He needs a win. It's a very, very similar trajectory what he's on at the moment, because it's all to do with desperation. And there's certain things I wouldn't do tomorrow. I wouldn't risk Casemiro tomorrow. Not worth it. It just isn't. I don't know if I'd risk Maguire tomorrow. It ain't worth it. The pitch is likely to be a bit bubbly. It's likely to cut up quite easy. I don't think the ball will play to our passing strengths, if we've got any passing strengths. So you're going to need players that are willing to take a gamble and take a risk tomorrow. You can't have players. If you remember a couple of years ago, we beat Tranmere 6-0 on their turf. Pitch was awful. Do you remember?
Yeah, Maguire's goal was not so bad.
Yeah, Maguire scored. But we showed a bit of fight, didn't we, that day, if you remember? We showed a lot of fight, a lot of spirit. We're going to have to go in similar. But I go back to what I was saying at the very beginning. When you look at the players and the lack of quality that Newport have got, and they do. I know they beat Wrexham the other day, 1-0, by the way. But at Newport's ground, if these players try to over-elaborate on the pitch, we should beat them comfortably. If they play in a normal game, it'll be a bit more tight. But I still expect us to go in and beat them 4-0, Reece.
I'm expecting it. I'll just be surprised if it happens. Just the fact that I don't trust any of these players at all.
Yeah.
I don't.
You see, the problem here is
I wouldn't trust these players to cook a good dinner for me.
Well, that is true.
Do you know what kind of baffles me, lads? Sorry for cutting across you, Ken. Do you know, just in, and I'd said it on a couple of podcasts previously, you can turn around and say, 4-season syndrome, etc. But what has actually gone wrong collectively? I know we've had so many injuries this year, but if you just look at it from a squad basis and what we had done, did we overachieve last year based on the squad we had? What has happened to that current squad based on the fact we haven't had many outgoings? We've had a lot of loans. We have big high profile ones, so like Jadon Sancho was obviously left on loan, etc. We haven't really had much in regards from a recruitment standpoint over the summer in particular. But I'm baffled, and I know I reverted what I said a couple of weeks ago. I was there for the Wolves game, first game of the year. on a Monday evening, and I was like, I was just not looking at the same team. Then I'd watched against Everton, and I think it was the April, if not mistaken, the previous game that I'd been to.
Yeah.
So like I'm baffled, because I'm like, at that particular time, and again I'll go back and say, look, I'm so proud, like, my Manchester United fan, I'm so proud of the team, and then this has happened, and it's been such a poor structured season, and I'm like, what's next? So I can't even look. I'm just probably saying productive almost as yourselves. I'm not excited for tomorrow because I know what it can lead to. I'm not saying to myself, like, Stu, you were saying, like, or Reese, you're saying, oh, well, 4-0, you nearly expect it based on the level of quality of the opposition versus our own. And if it happens, would I be surprised? No, because we have that quality within our squad. But would I be surprised to go out of the FA Cup tomorrow? No. That's the scary thing.
One thing that scares me, if you don't mind me cutting in on that one, Keane. One thing that I think is a genuine problem with our team is identity crisis. Like, when you look at our team, like, if you ask any Man United fan what they want to see, you want to see free-flowing attacking football, but you want to see the team actually win consistently. That shows the team's actually able to and will compete regularly. When you look at our team, one, I don't see where the end goal is. With a fully fit squad or without, we should still be able to play to a degree a style of play that Ten Hag wants, with or without our first choice players. We should still be able to do that. Any team that with a genuine, clear cut idea will. You can take out 4 or 5 of those Brighton players. Say João Pedro, Ferguson, Lamptey, Caicedo, and all that, or whoever. Say they all got injured, right? Brighton have got 4 or 5 players that will come in. They might not be as genuine quality as the players I've just mentioned, but their style of play won't change. Aston Villa, you take out Jacob Ramsey, you take out Ollie Watkins, you take out, I don't know, John McGinn, for example, or Douglas Luiz. You take them out, Unai Emery will still play the same way. So I don't get why, for us, we have to have a fully fit squad to play the way we want to play. We should still be able to play a style of play regardless of who plays. But we don't. There's nothing there. There's no style, there's no identity, there's no recognition, there's no means to say we are playing a specific way. And it always comes back to the same point by everybody I pretty much listen to. It's because we've not got our fully fit squad. Fully fit squad or fuck all squad. We should still be playing a style of play that we want to play. And that's why I just think the problem is it's identity crisis.
I agree that the squad's identity is definitely an issue, right? In terms of the way we play. Julio's after sending the same comment in 3 times there, by the way. That's putting me off.
I know, I've seen that.
Yeah,
Julio.
Fuck's sake. But I agree. And the thing is, Ten Hag, you mentioned identity crisis, because last season was all about control. This season is where he wants to be the best team in transition, right? In either case, right, if you're talking about a team that plays in transition, or you're talking about a team that's going to play in terms of the possession or Ajax football, if you want to kind of whatever way you want to frame it, right, in terms of them 2 styles of play.
There's a total football side where players are in constant transition, where if a midfielder moves forward, a fullback will cut in, then a player will come in forward position.
Yeah,
or we'll just totally dominate possession and create fuck up. Vanguard.
Yeah. Now, in either case, right, if you're talking about playing transition or you're playing, obviously controlling the game, you're playing possession football.
Yeah, absolutely.
In either case, you probably can't do that with Scott McTominay as your main midfielder. In either case, in terms of transitioning the ball quickly and playing on the break, or alternatively controlling the game, right? In either case, right, if you want to isolate, let's say, a couple of different scenarios in both ways Ten Hag's wanted to play, Scott McTominay in either system doesn't work.
No,
absolutely. In either system, it doesn't work, right? So here's the common denominator. If we have an identity crisis right now, one thing we need to do is get him out of the team. We need to shaft him out. I know the goals have been great, but he needs to go, right? Players like Diogo Dalot, where you mentioned, Joe, you don't know what type of performance you're going to get out of him. He needs to go, because what system does he fit? Bruno Fernandes. If Bruno is not transitioning the ball well, which he used to do on the break, then Bruno needs to go. Like again, I'm not playing favorites here in terms of this. Because
No, of
like, you know,
course.
I've been criticised before for playing favourites, which I'm not. I'm not. But when you look at both ways Ten Hag has wanted to play, there's a couple of players in there that hinder either style of play. And what may happen is, in terms of like recruitment, whether it's Eric Ten Hag next season or Graham Potter, or I'm just name dropping people, whoever the manager is next season, you're talking about identity crisis. You need to get some of these players out that are going to hinder either system in terms of the way we play.
Here's a question. Here's a question I've got for all you guys then, and after that I'll shut up for you. Well, if we've got all these players that doesn't fit, theoretically, why does the manager keep picking them then? Like,
Well, to be fair, in midfield, we
even
didn't have much of an option, did we? We didn't, like,
even
in
if there's
terms of like,
yeah, but he's like, if he's sacrificing all these, like, we've loaned out what 7 or 8 youth players. Like, if that's the intention, right? That's fine. Get them game time. But if he's picking players that feasibly don't fit in, Van de Beek, I've got no interest in Donny Van de Beek, right? But he's an Ajax player for Ten Hag had. Never gave him a chance, which, again, I don't think he's good enough for the Premier League. But if he fits your style then, why wouldn't you use him now? It's just a genuine question. And 2, when you look at the squad in general, McTominay, fair enough. To hell with him. Kobe Mainoo's there, it's an option. Just in circumstance, though, when you look at these players that may fit, may not fit, if they don't fit, why do you just keep choosing to start them? Leave them on the bench.
The thing is, Reece, style tomorrow, believe it or not, style won't win us the game.
No, it's goals. It's chances that are converted.
It's all about brains tomorrow. And for me, the game will be won and lost out wide. That's why the game will be won and lost. We should be too good in the middle. You know, we should be too good in the middle. 2, 3, 4 yard quick passing. After about 20, 25, 30 minutes of that, they'll start to tire, and then we can use the width, because there'll be a lot more width and space for us when their midfield tire, and they will tire. There's no two ways about it. That's what will win us the game. We've got to push on. I mean, look, my midfield, and I know you'll come back, Reece, later. Keane later, but my midfield 3 would actually be Mino, Ericsson, and Bruno for that reason, because we've got good passing, we've got a good range of long passing. Mino will sit wonderful in that 6 to 8 role. He can almost be a hybrid 8. I don't think we'll necessarily need a 6 tomorrow. That will give Ericsson, and if Ericsson's fit, which I think he is, and Bruno the license, which will then give the 2 wingers. And I'd bang. Is Palestri still with us, or is he had his Granada?
he's going to Granada. He's going to Granada. So I don't know if that's done yet, but
no, I've lost track on who's gone where with the youngsters.
The one that the recent loan that for me made no sense. The fact that he loaned out Dan Gore.
Dan Gore, yeah, he just went out just recently, didn't he? He chose Port Vale, didn't he?
Yeah, he's got to Port Vale,
Yeah.
That was a weird 180, because he was meant to be going on loan to Dortmund, then all of a sudden he's going to Port Vale. That's really strange.
Yes, yeah, that's a bit strange. No, you're right. So I'm thinking that, you've got to play Højlund up top, get him some goals, get his confidence.
Yeah.
Probably Garnacho, maybe Palestri then, or Ahmad, I would play along, and I think Garnacho and Ahmad can really do the damage on the width. But that 5, including, plus Højlund, that 6 should be well enough to kill transition. Should kill transition, and then give us what we need. And I will play Willie. I'll play the youngster at the back. There's a question from Mick, actually. Mick, right behind you, Mick. He asked about Bayadere. What do we think of him? I think he's going to be a fabulous addition. I think he's a really good keeper. I don't know if you've seen anything of him, but I think he's a really good keeper. He's a hell of a shot stopper, but he's quite good with his feet from what I've seen. Although, you know me, guys, I'm not down with this playing out the back nonsense. It doesn't do it for me all the time, because we can't seem to do it. Anyone watch the Tottenham match yesterday? Did you, when you've got little gnats like Phil Foden, when you've got gnats like Julian Alvarez, you're just going to chase you and chase you and chase you. You just want to smack him in the mouth, don't you? Don't allow that to happen. Get rid. The amount of times that City could have turned over the ball in Tottenham's 18-yard box yesterday was atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. And they
were passing too much in their own box.
I don't think that's the way, Reece, for Willie to learn how to defend. He wants to learn how to defend properly. He'll get a real good education tomorrow from real meathead footballers. And I class myself as a meathead footballer, by the way.
Yeah.
You get a real education of, I'm just going to go in, bang, I'm just going to have you, mate. I'm just going to have you. I'm not going to tippy-tap around you. I'm going to absolutely nail you. And I'm expecting it back. And we will get that from them. We will get that tier of aggression that our little namby-pamby some of our players don't like, and they'll be rolling around. I want to see real. If you're up against a League Two striker or a League Two, I'm still playing, Trev. I'm I'm donning the Six Ways Stadium in the morning, fellas. The mighty Sitton Town. Jim, we're playing at the Worcester. You know the Worcester Six Ways, don't you, Reece?
Yeah, heard of it. A friend of mine's in that area, funnily enough. Yeah, so.
Yeah, we're playing it. It's about a 15,000 seater stadium. There'll be crikey. Well, a good 5,000 there watching us in my dreams. Probably about 5, but anyway, there'll be so we're playing there. But
I do like that Bender though. Like I watched him play a few times for Turkey, and I really liked what I saw. The problem is though,
he started Turkey?
Yeah, he's their number 1 goalkeeper.
He's their number 1. Let's take his number 1.
Why the fuck has he come to United to be a number 2?
Because same way Sergio Romero was Argentina's number 1 goalkeeper. He came in, done a job, got a bit of money, but still done better by winning more trophies. Bender ain't gonna do that though.
That's mad.
He's on something like 40 grand. He's on something like 40 grand a week.
He wasn't even the number 1 goalkeeper at his former club either. He was the number 2, but he was the nation's number 1.
He was the nation's number 1. He's a really good keeper. He's a good keeper. I think it'd be ideal. Yes, Julio. I mean, poses. You're absolutely right. So that's what I would do. I would have a look, and I would use the guile that we've got, and I think Ericsson will give us that guile. But you are going to get some nasty bastards in there. Because that's what League 2 is about. So it'd be great for Willie coming.
It's League 2 is just like once you're in there, like, are you ever going to get out?
I went to watch. I went to watch Notts County. Oh, Mark. I went to watch. I went to watch Notts County. A few weeks ago, actually, when they played Mansfield. Mansfield actually played them off the park, but the quality was awful. You know, the actual pass and the ball retention in particular is terrible at League 2, and if we
don't really play for ball retention unless you're Wrexham. Like, they're the only team that are generally good enough for the ball retention. I've watched a few League 2 games this year.
And Wrexham aren't great. Mansfield are a decent side, you know. Stockport, very good.
They won 5-1. They won 5-1 against Doncaster today, Stockport.
Yeah, very good. And that's what you've got to get. But I can't remember what the type of pitch that Newport County play on. I watched the Manchester Derby the other day. Sorry, not the Manchester Derby. Man United Chelsea. Women's, and what I wouldn't be surprised if in Newport don't let the grass grow if it's quite a long pitch, so the ball doesn't play. I noticed that Chelsea did that against us. They cut out our passing game because the grass was too long. So I wouldn't be surprised, or it's a little bit threadbare in places, so the ball doesn't bounce through. It'll be an interesting game. I'm massively looking forward to it, but I love the dark arts anyway, so.
Ironically, their manager. Sorry, I had to put off there. I wouldn't mind the fire alarm start going off from work typically, so I had to run. But anyway, we're okay now. Their manager ultimately is from my area, and the area is very rough and ready in regards to typical working
class. The Dubs, boy, up the Dubs.
Proper working class area, and I know the family. They wouldn't know me, but I know the family, and lovely family, and big Manchester United fans as well, by the way. So if there was ever a time that he'd want to go out and get a result tomorrow, against his boyhood club as per se.
We'll slip him a couple of G's tomorrow, and we'll just say that's for Newport for staying alive.
Based on where the family home is, I reckon he take that few G's, not a bother.
It's interesting, Mark, what you were saying, and that's what I was getting at right at the very beginning of the podcast. Is he will do one or two things, the gaffer for Newport. He will either get them wound up to an absolute frenzy instead of foaming at the mouth, which would be a mistake, because they'll completely be off their game. Or he'll do everything he can to, Manchester United. If I was him, Manchester United would have been banned for the whole week Nothing about Manchester United anywhere. The paper, you'd have been banned, or social media, everything, because
don't pay attention.
Because when you are facing, as an amateur, when you are facing a club like that, we play a lot of in our league, by the way, we play a lot of ex-pros, and we have to think about what you do, and you don't just have to think seconds. You got to think minutes ahead what he's going to do and how he's going to do it, because he's going to absolutely fucking destroy you. You know, and it's a very similar thing when you're going up against the likes of Eriksen and you're a midfield player, a young midfielder, trying to learn and trying to almost think about how he's going to be before he even thinks. It's almost impossible, Mark. So their gaffer has got a real difficult task. I'm hoping he goes and he gets some frothing. I really do. I hope he sticks something on their dressing room and said, "Oh, Manchester United said this about you lot," and they go in, because they'll miss their tackles, they'll miss their passing, you know, they'll miss their headers, their shooting will be wild, it'll be erratic. We need that because we want to be able to control the game right from the off. It's one of those games, Reece, Keane and Mark, where we have to control right from the off.
I just think Newport.
You're sorry, guy.
I was just gonna say, I think the Newport manager will just simply tell them, like, don't play the occasion, just play the game.
They're not expecting to win. You know, they're not going into this game thinking that they're going to come away there and go into the next round of the FA Cup. This is a historic day for them, you know, and if the case where you get a result based on their own performance, well then, albeit we simply weren't good enough on the day, but there's no way that their players are going to bed tonight saying, you know what, we're going to win this game tomorrow. It's going to be, we hope to win this game tomorrow, you know. Like I said previously, fitness will only take these lads so far. Like if you're a Premier League team, you're going to expect these to wean off, like, you know, 50, 60 minutes in at least. Adrenaline will only take them so far, and then we hopefully have the players and the quality to take us forward, you know, if we go in at half-time in the break, you know. So,
Mark,
I think
if Varane's playing tomorrow, he should be able to do top up his fake tan by 30 minutes. That's how the game should be going for us. He should be able to be topping up his fake tan after 30 minutes because they're not laying a glove on it. That's how it should be, pal. I'm not saying you're topping up your fake tan, Varane.
Just on that, like, if you look at in the away games we've had this season, I think one thing Newport County will definitely be saying is make it a fight. Yeah. Make it a fight out there. Because if you look at the games like Forest away, you look at the games like that where the body language of players didn't even want to be there, like from the kickoff. You remember they said it in the
just to stop you there, mate. Just to stop you. You made a brilliant point because that game changed on that Morgan Gibbs-White double tackle. Do you remember?
Yeah.
The whole game changed after that, didn't it? The whole game completely. He got the bit between his teeth, and we buckled.
He was like stuff.
If Newport get this game tomorrow, that's what they should be looking at, games like that where players like Christian Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes, players like that who technically are brilliant, but you know, off the ball they lack a bit of steel. I do think if there's a way for Newport to win this game, I think set pieces is definitely a way to do it. Maybe, you know, counter attack, but I think more so make the game a fight, make it a battle. Like, bring the crowd into the game. You know, make it kind of that kind of old school. I know, Mark, we've seen games over here in Ireland where it gets rough. There's fucking tackles thrown in. It's fucking lethal. Like, Newport need to make it like that. They need to make it a fight. And I do think right now, that's what they need to do is win the game. Do I think Man United have enough in the squad to do? Absolutely. Fucking 100% we should be winning this game. But when you look at our track record in away games this season, I just don't trust this team to go out and do anything significant. And that's just going off the way we played. If you asked me this last season, Newport away, I would have said, yeah, geez, that's a piece of piss. No bother. Oh, Jesus Christ, Villarreal have gone 2-0 up. I had the Villarreal game on here, by the way. And
they've gone 2 up, have they? Fucking hell.
They've gone 2 up against Barcelona at the Nou Camp, yeah. But yeah, on that, like, I can't trust us to go there and actually, you know, put out performance and dominate for 90 minutes and not them have it, lay a glove on us. Trevor.
Yeah, it won't be a comprehensive result if we win anyway, Keane. It'll be like I'll be very surprised if it's comprehensive. You know, we make it hard for ourselves.
One thing that I will always One thing I'll always stand by, though.
Trevor then in the comments here says, Keane, stop being so negative. Well, Trevor, I'll be honest, you're living on a different planet if you think there's anything to be positive about at this club at the moment. I'll give you two things that are positive at this club at the moment. Kobbie Mainoo and the fact that the Glazers have less percentage of ownership than they do now. Other than that, there's fuck all that's positive at this football club in the minute. Like, do you know? Can you tell me anything else?
What I do think, though, and I'll always stand by this, is a team can have so much quality, like back to front, but if you come in with just that feeling of we're just a better team because we've got the better team on paper, that team gets beaten by the hardest working team on the day. Example right now is Barcelona getting beat by Villarreal.
That's happened before, though, Reece. You're absolutely right, mate. If teams want it more, then it's absolutely right. But I honestly, guys, I can see us turning them over between 4 and 6.
Because I just want to have a good game.
I think just Mark's face then. I think we can do it. I think we can do it between 4 and 6. I just, I think they'll overplay Newport will tomorrow. I'm pretty sure. You watch their first touches, they'll be raggedy, it'll come off the shin, they'll be nervous, the ball won't play. Yeah, and it'll be too late by then. And I think we'll be in. What we need to do is go hold the ball, put your foot on it, move it across.
Right. Bring up Mark's comment. Bring up Mark's comment first. Not that one. The other one. Yeah. I'm not comparing Villarreal to Newport. I've always said this with every opponent. The hardest working team will beat the team with quality depending on what they want. I'm not comparing Villarreal to Newport. That's insane. But they are doing to Barcelona what theoretically Newport could do to us if they wanted more than us.
It's about mentality going into the game. That was the point you were trying to make, Reece, versus
what I'm comparing working ethic. Yeah, I'm comparing work ethic. That's the difference. You can come in with so much quality and still get beat. Trev, no one's ever made that comparison. I know Julio has because Julio's weird.
On that, though, because obviously there's 4 of us here, I think it'd be very unproductive of me to ask Albie to name a starting 11 because it'd be very repetitive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give 3 of you different sections of the squad. So, Reece, I'm going to give you the midfield because Stu already mentioned what his midfield would be. So Reece, I'll give you the midfield, but Stu, I'll give you the back 4.
Okay. So my back four would be I would bring in I've got a problem with the back 4 because I don't want to play Martinez at all.
We have to
because I'm a bit worried about the pitch. If I'm being honest.
He needs minutes.
Yeah. So I am going to go with Martinez anyway, and I'm going to go with Willie Kambala. I'm going to go with Dallo. I'm going to go with Wan-Bissaka. I think that's what the back 4 will be, plus Bayadere and goal. It's not my ideal back 4. My ideal back 4 would be Evans and Maguire, or Maguire and Kabwala. Malacia, he's not fit, I know. This would be my ideal back 4. But I think it'll be Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Dallo, Martinez, and Kabwala. Willie Kabwala. That's who I would go for.
On that,
I would play myself, Trev. I would play myself. You're absolutely right. I'd love to play in this game.
Reece, on that, Stu mentioned his midfield a while ago. Do you agree with midfield 3? Would that be the 3 you'd go with? Or are you going with midfield 2, midfield 4? What are you going with as your midfield setup?
My midfield 3 would just be 3 pigeons because they're all going to flock away anyway.
3 pigeons.
My midfield 3 is, I get why Stu earlier on said no Casemiro. It does make a bit of sense. Again, he's barely played, so I'm just going to say Eriksen, Mainoo, Casemiro.
I can see you. Honestly, I can see your logic in that, Reece. I can. I just worry about the pitch.
Yeah, which is understandable.
So on that then, so we've when you look at the collective starting 11, Bayadere starting in goal, and then we have Dallo, Kambwala, you said Martinez, wasn't it, still?
I went with Martinez, Leach, yeah.
And then Reece has gone a midfield three of Casemiro, Kobe Mainoo, and Christian Eriksen. So, Mark, what's your front three? Because as a result, we're playing a 4-3-3 now since the lads went to 4 at the back and 3 in midfield. So we're playing a 4-3-3 now by the process of elimination. And what's your front three?
I'm gonna say I can't really look past Garnacho and Anthony and Hoyland up top. But
you don't fancy Ahmed? You don't fancy Ahmed, Mark?
No, he's not gonna. No, I don't think he's gonna start. Do you think he's gonna start? I don't think so.
I think he might get the nod. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I know what you're saying about Anthony. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I think he might just get the nod.
You know why I think? Why I have this like intrigue and thought that I think Ten Hag is nearly indebted to Anthony, where he has to say to himself, "I need to pick him because if he has a relatively good game here and he produces, quality, performances, well, then it can influence his confidence." I just have that in my head because there's games where he started where realistically he shouldn't. And tomorrow Ten Hag is probably looking at this and saying to himself, it's a League 2 team, FA Cup, blah, blah, blah. I'll give him the nod. That's personally what I think. I don't see...
I've got no issues with your logic, mate. Got no issues with your logic.
I don't see past the country.
Yeah,
I'd loved it. I'll tell you what, Stu, if it was the case where I was confident going into this game in the sense of the result, and we are at the coming off a string of decent results prior to a fortnight break, I'd say to myself, I'd love to see Ahmed get a chance. I realistically see him starting the bench. We only had to come back from injury himself, hasn't he? Came back, got injured again, so he's realistically only back and forth to him playing the past week or week and a half, I think. So yeah, realistically, that's what I'd love to see, but I just don't see past that top three, front three side tomorrow.
I agree on why Anthony might play as well, because obviously he was the only player who scored against Burnley in that friendly defeat. I think the manager will probably be thinking, "Oh yeah, he's got confidence again for finding the back of the net," and I'm like, that's not enough.
The problem for me is, and I'll be on the level with you fellas, I forgot about Anthony. As a footballer, as a fan, I've completely forgot we've got him in the squad. Do you know what I mean?
I think he goes in the summer.
That's bad.
I think he goes in the summer.
Terrible.
I don't blame you for that, Stu. I actually blame him based on inadequate performances. So he's another one as well, Keane. I know you referenced there earlier on in regards to players. I think we're going to foresee players leaving the club come the summer. Now, it's not going to be like a hiatus of a multitude of players leaving, because we realistically know that hasn't been the way the past several years, and it takes time in order to breed these players out. But Anthony as well is one of them that can be looked at. If it's a case where we agree in regards to what we're seeing in the press, inadequate performances in any part of the football club effectively should be, drawn out. And that's what the start has kind of been with the head physio and things like that. So, it's an interesting watch come the summer. If it's a case where he's not performing and Ten Hag is still at the helm, what happens to these players who are realistically dramatically underperforming based on the price tag that we pay for them? And we've done so for several years for so many different types of players, and we're not getting enough bang for our buck, as per se, even though we've overpaid the market price, So I'm personally looking forward to the summer. I said a couple of weeks ago, I'd rather just see the season out in the sense of if it was the case where I was able to close my eyes and fall asleep up till then and hibernate, I would, but I have to undo to it, as per se,
And I absolutely agree. I do think there's players here who have underperformed. If Ten Hag is here next season, then I think the onus on him is to either double down and admit he was wrong on the signing and bring in new players, or blood in an Amad Diallo, or maybe bring in the winger like I was talking about, Pedro Neto. That started last season. I was saying to Reece, I thought he would have been much more direct and much more creative. For that. Don't worry, I'll sort that dickhead out there now. I just wasn't paying attention.
Good. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
But look, at the end of the day, I do think there's going to come a point in Ten Hag's managerial career, if he stays here long enough, that he's going to have to, look at the signings he made, see which ones went right, what went wrong, and thank God we're going to have a recruitment team behind him to basically tell him, this is not working, that's not working, here's the data, here's the players you should buy for the way you want to play. That's if he is here that long. I don't imagine that he will. I think he's gone by the end of the season. Don't think we're going to be consistent enough.
I think he stays, Reese. I think he stays. Reese, sorry, Keane. I think he stays, pal.
You think
If
so?
he does, I'll be happy. If he does stay, I'll be happy.
do.
with
I think
that,
he
because I want to see him
stays.
do better.
Yeah. I don't know. I get your point, mate. Again, your logic is sound. I think he stays.
Realistically, you want it there to him staying. We said this a couple of weeks ago. Like, everybody here
Yeah.
wants to see him do well. That's fact. Like, we're not going into, you know what, we want heads on the chopping block here and we want them gone. But Reece made the point at the start of the show. Like, if we don't win tomorrow, like, we could, like, typically see.
I accept that. Again, I accept that. I do. I just got this feeling. I think he stays.
I don't think
My
he's got
feeling on
enough
it
in the
is.
bank
My feeling on it is,
just to
if he doesn't get at least Europa League, if he doesn't get Europa League and gets a run in the cup, I think he's gone.
He's got some work to do. Absolutely, I don't disagree with that.
Do you know one thing that I'm kind of frustrated with as well? Look, I know we can harp on about like signings and all, lack of funds, etc. But like, he stood over signings, and I don't know how much of a say he has in regards to price tags. I know it's progressively through agents and clubs, but if we were, what was it, the scouting department, I think the Athletic had previewed it, and the scouting department had went out and valued Anthony, I think it was at 25 million sterling. Then we paid about 85 million pound, which, you know, 60 million above asking price, not above asking price, above you know, realistic price tag for such an individual. He stood over signings to that effect. So, you know, I want to see him do well, so do we all, but like, his head on the chopping block, really.
This is something that I actually think is a good point, because when you look at players like, I think in the summer, if Anthony goes, I think the top choice to replace him would be Marcus Edwards, who I really do rate, or Michael Olise, who's been fantastic for Palace. When you look at the two of them, theoretically, half the price. Well, maybe Olise is slightly more because it's Premier League, but Marcus Edwards, an English talent, playing out in Portugal, which is transitionally better for the Premier League anyway. That's 30 to 35 million because he's got a year left in his contract as of this summer coming. That's smart. Ten Hag, like for Anthony, I get it. He rates Anthony, worked with him at Ajax, and that makes a lot of sense. But I'm not spending more than 40, 45 million on Anthony, even though he's won trophies with him. It's value, regardless of what Ajax won.
And I think you've got to consider now, lads, moving forward as well. Sorry, Reece, but you have to consider this, and it's a thought process. When you look at the business that these guys have done, I started talking to Barada in December. Nobody knew about this, not even the senior managers of Manchester United. If you are looking at a new manager, or now at the end of January, you've got to be doing your due diligence from November onwards for your summer signings.
Yes.
You would have to have your list by January for your summer signings and who you're going to move on in the summer. You can't really rely and let this unless Keane is right. And we've got I'm just going to say De Zerbi. I'm just going to use him as an example. A De Zerbi lined up. And De Zerbi has looked at the squad, what he wants and what he doesn't. I think it's a Ten Hag 24-25 season based on that.
It's not a bad shout. I think you also have to look at...
That's all.
No, I think that's fair. I think another thing you got to look at as well is familiarity to Ineos as well. So like Graham Potter's been mentioned so many times as well. But again as well, there's another guy who's potentially in the mix, and that's Farioli, the current Nice manager. Like, ironically enough, they could bring in the manager they've got at a club they already own and put him as the Man United manager because he's second in the Ligue 1. Wouldn't surprise me if they also considered that option as well. What do you want? X, Y, Z. Well, there you go.
And that's the thing. I think that's where, look, I know we're foreshadowing into next season, but look, I think if it'll come to a stage where if he doesn't, if he doesn't go ahead and do better with all these players back, then I think at the end of the day, he's running on borrowed time. Because
it's a hugely important task. You're right, mate. You're right.
Yeah, I think the form needs to get better. And look, if he gets Europa League football by hook or by crook, then I think that's enough to keep him in the job. I think just about. I think top four is a bit tough for him. I do think they'd have to get like 2020 level Leicester fall off for us to finish in the top four. I do think Villa or fucking Arsenal would have to fall off majorly, and I just don't see that happening with the quality they both have in their squads. So
let alone them, we have to improve on performance, let alone if it's a case where they have a massive fall off. That doesn't structurally mean that we're going to, considering we haven't been able to string a set of results together majority of the Premier League season, all of a sudden say to ourselves, you know what, we're going to win 5, 6, 7, 8 in the bounce and bring ourselves right up, because I can't personally see up this current squad, and I'd be baffled for any Manchester United fan to see that. I'd said it there going back in the previous podcast, like we're running out of excuses as a squad, considering we're getting our more injured players back in terms of the progressive long periods of time that they've been out. Now is the time to stand up and be counted and say we have basically a full strength squad here, albeit we've a lot of loans gone out, but this is the time where we can say, try to revert back in terms of some of our performances last year and make a half decent season out of it. Like, we're entering February and not one Manchester United fan is happy with any adequate performance this season, factually.
I know it sounds incredibly harsh, but for me, the only way Ten Hag stays in this job, for me, is FA Cup. He has to win the FA Cup or go. I know that sounds incredibly harsh, but for me, you get judged at this club measured on success. He has to win the FA Cup.
Yeah, look, you're in football to win games. Our lads will be turning up tomorrow morning, and I'm going to be banging and banging and banging. We can't lose this game. This is my issue, you see. My problem is I hate losing. I'm a terrible winner, Mark, by the way, mate. I'm fucking just as bad as a winner as I am as a loser. But,
to lose.
People say you should learn to losing. Bollocks. You should keep winning. You got to learn to win. You should never learn to lose. And for me, our lads, when I look around, and we've all done this because Keane's mentioned it on many a times, he looks into the eyes of the players when he's at the stadium. And my lad does it because we're 30-year-old season ticket holders, and my lad goes now, and he just looks at me. He said, "Dad, I just look at Bruno, and his fucking eyes. There's no fire in there. There's no aggression. There's nothing, And that's what we're missing. We're missing this aggression. So I don't think it's whether or not all the time you trust Ten Hag. I actually think sometimes you trust these fucking idiots who we're entrusting with our week. If we lose tomorrow night, I'll be looking on Twitter because Keane will have a meltdown in a nice way, pal. But he'll have a meltdown. It ruins his fucking week. That's how it should be, isn't it?
To be fair, my Twitter activity is a lot less strenuous in the last couple of months.
I have noticed, yeah.
I've been less aggravated by Twitter. I've just completely switched off from it. Now I actually, to be fair to me, I do a lot more mounting about UFC and WWE lately than I do about United, so it's probably just as well.
I just pop in and out of Twitter. Pop in and out.
Well, look, never. I agree with you. I look at the body language of some of the players on the pitch. From going to games, I was there at the start of Bruno's tenure compared to now, and he doesn't have that same oomph that he had about him when he first came. I don't know whether that's the vibe of the club taking him down, or is it is his heart really all there? I don't know. There's players there who I've watched down the years of all the times I've gone to games, and their body language is a lot different now than it was a couple of years ago. Well, look, it's one of them. We'll have to see what happens throughout the season. And look, I hope Ten Hag does improve it. I'd love to see him turn it around and get the vibe back to what we were last February. When we just have to win the Carabao Cup, knocking Barcelona. Them couple of days going to them games was some fucking crack that week. I'd love to get back to that. I remember doing shows last season where literally it was all positive. It was literally all positive. We're talking about maybe challenging for the league next year. Getting the Glazers out, doing this, doing that. It was a lot more positive this year. It's just been trepidation because we've been shit. We've been absolutely fucking shit. And I think I just love to see us get back to the way we know this squad is capable of putting out a performance. But I do think there's a couple of players that just need to fuck off, essentially, and then get some good characters in that dressing room, and then look, who knows, we can go out and fucking rebuild. Jurgen Klopp was after leaving Liverpool. Trevor, have you watched this channel? I've been the one that's been defending managers and players for the longest time, and Reese has called me out on me defending fucking people for the longest time. The comment section has called me out. So Trevor, I don't know how you're saying that. Have I ever been positive? At the end of the day, that there's been times where I've been overly fucking positive when Solskjaer was here. I was looking for ways to keep him, and yeah, that didn't work out. All I say to people is go back and watch all content in this channel. I was always looking for a positive every week. This season, I've just had enough. It's as simple as that.
My positive is a 6-0 Keane tomorrow, dude. That's my positive.
I don't even care if it's 6-0. I just want us to play well. Get a result, and actually, I know it was cliched against Fulham a couple of weeks ago, but they play like they mean it. That's what I want them to do. But on that though, obviously we come to my favorite part of the show, which is score predictions. This season hasn't really been a favorite because I've been massively wrong, on multiple occasions. Well, hopefully, this does result in a more positive outlook. So I'm going to go to the bottom first. I'm going to go to Mark. What's your score prediction for tomorrow?
Come on, kid.
I'm going to say an uncomfortable 2-0 win. Uncomfortable in the sense of that we're going to make things very hard for ourselves. I don't see us losing, but like I said previously, and I hate being negative because I want us to go through as much as anybody else. But yeah, anyway, I'll leave it at that. An uncomfortable 2-0 win.
How uncomfortable are you talking? You're talking like sitting beside Jeffrey Epstein on the bus, uncomfortable, or just getting chased down the road? Like what? How uncomfortable are you talking here?
I'm talking like just a Dublin fella on his own in a Tipperary pub, and an old man Tipperary pub on his own.
Yeah,
working class. Yeah, that type of Once I open my mouth, the pub stops and the music stops, and all looks at me.
There's the dub, boys. There's the dub. So we go across to Stu. Stu, what's your score prediction for tomorrow?
I am going for 6, and I'm predicting a 3. I'm predicting a Hoyland hat trick, Garnacho 2, and I think we may get a pen as well on that one. Oh, just also, Keane, a big up to Mick and Mark in the chat. First time here, I believe.
Great.
I would say big up to Trev, but he keeps ribbing me.
Yeah, Trevor takes the piss out of all of us.
Love you really, Trev.
Trevor, I'm going to extend the invite. You've been a loyal subscriber for 3 years. We're 3 years in May, right? So, Trevor, on our third year anniversary show at the end of the season, because you've been so loyal and so great in the comments, and you give us a great slagging, but you're there every video. I want you to come on the 3-year anniversary show, and we're going to name this show The Roast of Trevor Wade.
The Roast of Trevor Wade, brilliant. Yeah, get him on. No, but
is that a stuffing or well done?
Oh, I don't know.
It's going to be a bit of everything. His greatest comments are going to come up on screen, and there's just going to be a couple of opinions I have to question that he's done over 3 years.
Bloody hell, Jesus! I think I'll appear in quite a few of those, Keane, recently, won't I? In his favourite comments.
Oh yeah, I've got a few in the locker as well. He's a good guy, but I've got a few over a couple of years. I'm not forgiven once.
No. But I'm going for 6-0, boys, and I think Hoyland hat trick, 2 from Garnacho, and a Bruno penalty, because I do think we'll get a pen, definitely. And big up to everyone in the comments. Thank you ever so much for supporting us. And well, not Reese, maybe, I know that, but I'm only joking, Reese. Love you really, man.
Nah, totally understandable.
Totally understandable. Really. You know that. You need to shave that little or get the cat.
I do. I know. You're trying to hide it with a smile all day. I do need to I'll just take a katana. I'll take a katana sword to it.
We'll have to do something. We'll do it for charity. Yeah.
I'll do it for myself. That's what matters.
So Reese, you're always one for a score prediction and mad ones. Are you going to be conservative, or are you going to go with a mad one?
I'm going to go very, very mad, and I mean extremely mad. And I don't know why I'm doing this. This kind of goes against everything I've said all stream, but it's only because it's not the result that mostly matters to me tomorrow. It's the quality of result. So I've actually.
He's back. That moron's back.
I'm gonna get killed for this. For me tomorrow, I am gonna go the exact same result as Stu.
Yes. Well done.
I'm going to go with that. I was close to saying 7-0, but that's a bit too ambitious for this team. I am going to say 6, but I think we'll do it 3 in one half, 3 in the second half. But
Oh my God,
my
Mr.
big-
Big's in the chat.
it's not just the result that matters tomorrow, it's the quality of the result, and we really need to justify it because we've got a lot of big games coming up that we have to really be in good confidence for, in good form. We need to build on that. If we don't, then our season gets tougher than what we want. Like,
Mick Ruby is thrown in 9-0.
What a Mick.
I swear to God, it's 9-0 tomorrow. Joe,
that'd be very.
I'd be pleasantly surprised. Trevor said 18-0, but only if Dan James plays. Fuck's sake.
We need to get that guy. We need to get that name banned from this channel. I fucking hate that player.
Yeah.
True.
We've all gone us with a clean sheet, right? So I'm obviously going to have to be one. I'm going to have to be different and say we're going to concede. Just to be different. I'm going to go 4-1. I'm going to go Newport to actually take the lead because, Man United...
Newport take the lead. We're not getting a goal back.
Yeah, if Newport take the lead, might as well just turn the telly off.
Newport take the lead, but United, we will, by hook or by crook, we'll break them down. We'll break them down. Ericsson, Bruno show their quality. And, we win the game. I'm going to go... You all went different goal scorers. I'm trying to think now. I'll go Diogo Dalot.
I've just gone for 6-0. There's no goal scorer. I don't care who scores. Just win.
I'll go Diogo Dalot. Diogo Dalot score.
What?
Bruno to score.
Dalot.
Yeah, I've slagged them off, so that's why I want to score. I've slagged them off, which means I'm covering my arse.
He's got it in his locker.
Yeah, I'm just covering my arse. So if he does score, I can say that I said that he scored, even though I don't rate him. I'll go Bruno Dalot, hopefully Hoyland, and because he's in the news this week, I'll go Rashford off the bench to grab a goal. That's if he plays. Because I haven't seen team news yet. But if Rashford is fit, off the bench maybe scores. But on that, Mark said, am I using camera? No, I'm not using the camera.
I've got one more score prediction, guys. The mighty Tipton Town to win 3-0 tomorrow. Woolley to open the scoring with a bullet header at the back post.
I'll do that scoreline, but because Stu loves smashing posers, I'm going to do Stu Woolley 2+ fouls.
That's more like it. That you would win on Paddy Power, pal.
On Paddy Power, lads. 2-1. Stu 2+ fouls and knock someone out.
100% you'd win that bet, I tell you. You definitely win that.
But for us, that would be a sight. For us though, especially tomorrow, like my last words again, I'm just going to repeat it. It's not just the result; it's the quality of the result. That's got to happen. It needs to be an absolute destruction. I know it's Newport County and that's harsh, but we should be treating them like they are nothing, and we've just got to treat them like nothing and just obliterate them on the field. Yeah,
we got to treat them like 6-0, 6-0.
Yeah. I hope it's 6-0. I hope it's 9-0, like they said in the comments. But look, we should wait and see. But on that, guys, we're gonna wrap up there. And just as I said, we're gonna wrap up there. Greg says Onana bench by Cameroon again. Oh,
he's not going to play, is he? He's not going to play.
Hopefully Cameroon win. Hopefully Cameroon win, so Boyan Deere can get a couple of games. So I want to see what he's about. But on that, we will wrap up there. Thanks very much to Reese, Stu, and Mark for all coming on this evening. And thanks very much to everyone in the comments, bar that one dickhead, but I won't mention your name to give you fucking airtime. And yeah, Joe, do you catch? I do believe the reaction is tomorrow. Is it immediately after the game or a couple minutes after the game usually? So do check that out as well. And also Monday we do have journalist Graham Bailey on. I'll be chatting to Graham about transfers, probably more outs than ins. So do check that out on Monday as well. But thanks very much to Reese, Stu, and Mark. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also, this video has been sponsored by Mind Manchester Mental Health Charity. And as you can see in the banner below, there are the details for Mind Manchester. Obviously, we're just in the case of a new year. We're coming out of Christmas, and obviously it's tough times for everybody. So look, do reach out to your friends, in good, bad, or in different times. And as we always say, the channel, if anyone who watches needs to chat or anything, like our DMs are open on Twitter, and obviously you have all our handles here as well. So if you ever want to chat to one of us, don't hesitate, to reach out. But on that, we will wrap up from here, and look, we hope to see you tomorrow for the reaction.